Hi, my name is Liz. Welcome to part two of why victims stay in abusive relationships and marriages. So, the next I'd like to talk about is the fact that we have aggressive abusers who stalk their victims, whether they stalk them while they're still in the relationship or marriage, or even when they manage, that is when the victims manage to leave the relationship, they stalk them. Now, when you're in the relationship, your abuser can stalk you by checking your phone calls, by checking your text messages, your emails, and all the trying to find out where you are, and always calling in and checking where are you, who are you with. Yes, they're trying to check on you and stalk you. And when you are a victim who tries and finds the courage to leave the abusive relationship or marriage, they stalk you by coming to your house, looking for you wherever you are. When you're in school, they appear in your school, at your workplace, in your church. They just follow you around and try to find out who are you talking to, who are you with. They stalk you. Now, I like to share a Kenyan story. This is a documentary I watched on domestic violence. And she was once married. They had three children, and he was an abusive husband, and she decided to leave. But he kept on stalking her and kept on coming, pleading with her for them to come back together as husband and wife. But she kept on refusing. There was this day he came knocking, and when she opened the door, he had a machete uh, in his hand, and he just began to strike her with it on her leg, on her stomach, on her hand. And their daughter was 6 year old. Yeah, their 6 year old daughter came shouting, trying to stop the father from hitting the father with the machete. And she raises her head up, and the machete hits her on the head. She instantly dies. She instantly dies. And he escaped to the bush, and he calls his brother, tells the brother that, hey, this is what I've done, and I need you to come and take me out. I need to leave this country as soon as possible. And when the brother confirmed from his brother, that is the person at the other end, called him and said, are you sure? What did you do? And when he told him, he decided that he was going to hand him over, that is the abuser, to the authorities. And that was how she got justice for it. But till today, she lives with the trauma of staying with an abusive partner, and even losing her child in the process. She was in a coma for a long time. She was in pains, and as at the time I was watching the documentary, she was still going for physiotherapy to try to get herself move her hands and move her limbs the way it's supposed to be. But she doesn't work normal. Her life is not the same. And when it happened, their 2-year-old son was present in the room when it happened. So the boy remains in that and in his head, he is scared whenever he sees a male, especially coming towards the mother. So when the reporter was approaching the mother to interview her, he was so protective of the mother because of what he has seen his father do to his mom. So when you decide to stay in an abusive relationship, you don't just do harm to yourself, you also do harm to your children and to your loved ones. We've had people who have died. For instance, Osinachi, who died in an abusive relationship. The people who are living with the hurt now is her children and her family, and even some of her fans that love her. They are the ones that are living in pain. Osinachi is gone. She's gone. And the other Osnachis that we've had, they're all gone. They're all gone. They're no longer in that abusive marriage. But the effect of it, we're still living with it. We that are still living are living with the hurt that came with their decision to stay. So when you're staying, you're not just when you decide to leave, rather, when you decide to leave an abusive marriage, you are doing it for yourself. before your children, you are doing it for yourself. Now, let me go back to my topic. Another thing is the fact that victims are scared of being rejected. I mentioned this in my in the first video I posted about domestic violence. If you've not seen it, then go check it out. They are scared of being rejected either by their friends, their loved ones, those I would open for. How about the shame? The shame that comes with leaving a marriage. In Africa, for you to be a complete woman, for you to be respected in the womanhood, you have to be married. And even after you're married, you have to have children. It's such a barbaric mindset that we need to do away with. But then that is it. It's a shameful thing for a woman to actually leave her marriage. But we've had people who are surviving and are leaving now because they chose to leave. And they faced the shame, they faced the difficulty that came with leaving. But leaving is better than staying. So another is the fact that they believe that they can change them. They believe that they can change them. Osinachi's twin sister said something. She said whenever her sister talks, she believes that she can change her husband. So that is what happens to some of these people. They believe that they can change. But there is something that people would always say, and something that men of God will always say. You do not have the power to change that man. You do not. The person who changes the man is God. And if God doesn't change him, you cannot change. You cannot change. In as much as I am not a strong advocate of divorce when it comes to abuse, but when it gets to an extent, now you just have to get away for a while. You have to get away from that environment. You have to get away. And the last thing I would like to talk about is the fact that there are abusers who threaten to kill, who threaten to harm the victims, or threaten to harm their children. That is for those who have children involved. And also, they threaten to even harm themselves. Now, what this does is that it cages the victims in a cage of guilt. The victim feels guilty of leaving. Okay, what if I leave? What if he harms himself? What if he kills himself? What if he comes after me and the children? So that is another thing. It goes beyond, at this point, it goes beyond just you experiencing the physical or the emotional or the sexual or the verbal abuse. It's in your head. Everything begins to play in your head. So please, next time, do not be quick to judge who you see remaining in an abusive relationship. Rather, try to help that person with love and care. Listen to that person. And if you do not have the capacity to help that person, refer that person. We have a lot of people who handle these cases. Or I will drop my number. You can send me a message and I will link you with the right person that could help. Bye and have a great day.